Hi everyone, this is Nikki Rowland and today I'm playing along with the Hit Kit Club Sketch Challenge and I'm using the July kits. So this is the sketch. You can see it has the two photos, title bottom left and mixed media, and I decided to use a cut file. I had these two photos of my little boy playing in our paddling pool in our garden, and I just thought that I could possibly make the cut file work with the sketch. So that's what I decided to embark upon. So I've cut the cut file in white. I'm only using the word pool. I cut off the word day, and I've used the paddling pool itself, and I've used the splashes, and I've cut an extra set of splashes as well in a different size. So I plan to have those going off to create represent part of the sketch. So I have cut the cut file, I've layered it onto my piece of white cardstock background, and I've just worked out roughly where it's going to go, and now I'm going to apply some mixed media to the top right and the bottom left corners, and that's because it's represented on the sketch. So I thought I would kind of do that, extend it out a little bit. I wanted to use blues and greens. Now in this month's kit we had the beautiful aquamarine Nuvo mousse, and there was an orange as well, but because I was using blues and greens, I had to dig into previous colour kits to find different mixed media products that I would be able to put on my background in those colours. So I went really quite far back. I found a few recently, the Prima ink pad that's in the turquoise colour for a start, and then I went all the way back to, I think it was around March or April 2019, so over a year ago, to get those two Lindy's sprays, which to this day remain some of my favourite colours that we've ever had in a colour kit. I also used some Lindy's powders, you know, the magical powders, and one of the Prima Art Philosophy liquid watercolour as well. So I used a real mixture here just to get the greens and the blues onto my layout. So, and then of course by the time the layout is complete, I pretty much cover the whole lot up, even though at the moment I really love the way it looks. I spend quite a bit of time working on the colours, and putting more and more together, adding more layers, more colours to get lots of depth and lots of interest to my mixed media, and I say then I go and cover most of it up, as is normally the way with mixed media. Okay, so you can see that I'm still working hard on the mixed media. I really didn't want too much green, I wanted it to be more blue, but then as I made the mixed media, I felt that the green was better, so I've carried on adding more and more green. There's greens and turquoises really, because I'm doing a pool day photo. Blues and greens just worked really well for me, yeah, so there you go. I'm also planning to put some Nuvo mousse on top through the stencil that we got in the colour kit for July, but at the moment it's too wet, so I'm just going to put it to one side, do something else, and then I'll come back to do that soon. Sorry for the 2-year-old on my lap, who was intent on playing with all of my mixed media products that I had out on my table. So what I'm doing now is, with my cut file, I'm going to stick it to this piece of paper here. So this is a pink Paislee and many more birthday collection, and it's one of the papers from that, but I really love these colours. I've already used this paper once for sorry about the screaming toddler in the background. Bumped head. Right, okay. So yeah, I've already used this paper once for a different layout. I used it as my background, so I didn't want to use it again in the same way. So I am going to stick the cut files to the different colours on the paper, and then I'm going to stitch around them and then cut them out and have them as individual elements on my white background with the mixed media. So yeah, I've just stuck them all in place. Well, actually, I think I'm still going. I decided at this point that I would have a quick look to see if there were any other better colours in the journaling cards to stick my cut files to, but in the end I decided to go for just the this sheet here, and then I realised I stuck some of them too close together, so I had to peel them off and stick them slightly further away from each other. So yeah, then I'm just going to pierce holes in all of those and stitch around them. But now that my mixed media is a little drier, I'm going to now apply my Nuvo mousse through the stencil to the background. So I'm just doing that directly onto the paper with my with the stencil, and I got a little bit of excess fall into my layout, so I just had to try and remove that. And little fingers don't help. That is my mixed media done. I'm just going to leave that to one side now while I go and do my stitching, because I prefer to let my mixed media dry naturally, because it means that my paper doesn't warp as much, rather than use a heat tool. But sometimes it's not always possible. But on this occasion it was, because I'm going to spend quite a few hours doing some stitching, and it was great just to leave it on the side drying whilst I did all that stitching. So yeah, so anyway, my cut files are on my piece of paper. I've just stuck them on, and now I'm going around the edges and around all the details with my paper piercing tool. I got a matte foam mat underneath, and then I'm literally going to spend a few hours stitching around every single item. The only thing I don't stitch around is the pool. So I stitch around the outside, but I don't stitch around all the bits in the middle. I just draw them round with a black fine liner pen to give them a bit of extra definition. The reason for that was because I wanted to poke my photo in the pool itself, in the hole. So I was just a bit worried about putting too much stitching on would mean that I wouldn't be able to get my photo through. I could have managed it probably by cutting it, but for ease, I just thought I wouldn't do that. Okay, so I've picked out some colours, embroidery threads that go with the colours on this paper. So I have the green for the green pieces and the light blue for the light blue pieces, and then I have a navy or a kind of like a teal colour for the darker blue. I've done all my stitching now. This is fast forward several hours, and I'm now going to cut out each of the elements, and then there they are, ready to go onto the layout. So this is, they look really good. I'm really happy with how they look. They're a little bit white at the moment. I might have to add some colour later, but for now I think I need a bit of colour around the outside of my layout. So I'm going to use the outside edge of that paper that I used for the cut files to put a border on my layout. So I've just trimmed out the excess middle, and now I need to chop off the sides of my layout and then stick it on so that I have a nice border. But first of all, I'm looking at this piece of paper here. So this is from the Dear Lizzy Here and Now collection. It's a rainbow stripe with loads of different colours, but it has this section with lots in the same section that are blues and greens. Perfect for my layout. So I just cut a section of that, and then on the sketch you'll see that there's like 3 or 4 washi tape strips going vertically down the layout. I was going to completely ignore that element, but then I saw this piece of paper and I thought, well, I can do that. I can bring that in and be true to the sketch with this piece of paper. So I'm just going to stick that. Oh, this is my little helper again. Just going to stick that in place onto the layout, and then I can arrange all of my other elements around it. And it just gives a nice background, and it also represents that area on the sketch. And yeah, I'm really happy with how it looks actually. So here we are with everything stuck in place. That piece of paper, the stripy paper, I've curled up a bit at the sides, no, at the tops and the bottoms, and I've got my all my cut files stuck in place. Most of them I've raised on foam pads, and now I'm just adding my titles. So obviously I have the word pool, and it was going to be pool day. The reason I cut off day was because I was worried it would be too far down at the bottom of my layout, so I had planned to add the word day in thickers or similar alphabet stickers to the word pool, or just underneath, but much smaller. But actually I decided to go for cool in the pool instead. I just thought that was pretty cool. I like that. So I pulled out those little letters from the crepe paper Maggie Holmes Sweet Story sticker book or sticker pack that we got this month in the July kits, yeah, those little letters, really cute, like black and transparent. So Very cool. And they fit perfectly along that line just above the word pool. So there's several lines on the swimming pool itself. So cool in the and then pool. So yeah, that's looking really good. I was really happy that that worked out as it did. It looked a lot better than day, which is what I added initially. I put the word day in those same letters in the bottom of the L, but that didn't quite look right. So I'm really happy that I came up with a cool in the pool. That was me all by myself. I didn't even have to look at Google. It's amazing. Okay, so I'm just getting everything stuck down. For embellishments, I was a bit limited on what I had in the right colours. Plus, there was a lot going on in this layout already, so I didn't want to add too much. So I pulled out some of the Maggie Holmes Sweet Story stickers from the sticker book, but they're all very thin and transparent, and I generally don't like working with stickers like that. So what I did, I stuck one flat to begin with and I didn't like the way they looked, so I peeled them off again and stuck them onto some white card and then cut around them. So I know that's a bit kind of defeats the object of having stickers, but that kind of created ephemera for me, which was better. I prefer it. I can move it around better. It stands out more. I can raise it up on foam pads. So all of that meant that those embellishments work better for me. So I have the butterfly at the top, flower at the right of the photo, as well as two bows to the left of the photo. So now I'm just decided that it all looks a bit too white, so I'm going to add some colour to my splashes. I'm not going to add colour to the pool or to the word pool, just onto the splashes. So I'm pulling out the same mixed media colours I used for my background. I'm sorry I got interrupted. So I did the first two splashes and then I did the next ones the next day because life. So I just did those top two, and now I'm doing the next layer. So the greeny ones I'm going to paint with the Nuvo mousse. Just had to water it down a bit, and then the really light blue ones I'm using one of the Lindy's sprays from last year, and I mix it with a little bit of the green one as well, just to give it a slightly different colour. It wasn't quite perfect directly out of the bottle. So yeah, nearly done with that. That's just, I just had to test that first onto a piece of white, that was nearly right, but just needed a bit of extra colour there. So there we go. I'm just going to start painting that there, and that's going to be all of the rest of the splashes are going to be in that colour there. And it just really kind of brought it together. It was just a bit too white. I've got the white background and then a lot of white on the cut files. So even though they had colour around the edges, I just wanted to bring in some extra colour. Okay, so that's nearly done now. Just finishing off really. I just need to write in some journaling, which isn't going to be very long, just a little bit there at the bottom in a black fine liner pen, and yeah, that is me done really. I hope you've enjoyed this layout. It has been fun to create. I really enjoyed using the cut file and following the sketch. I hope you play along with the sketch this week. Head over to the Hip Kit Club group on Facebook to join in. And don't forget that if you are a Hip Kit subscriber, you get the main kit at a reduced price, 15% discount off all add-on kits, and access to exclusive subscriber cut files like the one I used today. So lots of reasons to subscribe. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. That was Niki Rowland for Hip Kit Club.